Hello, everyone. Hello, Zuiderburen. I'm very happy to be here. It's a new talk, and I'm looking very much forward to it because everything can go wrong and will probably go wrong. I think I know why you are all here. You fell for the hype, right? So who of you actually already used an MCP server, even just trying it out? OK, some people. Who knows what an MCP server is? OK, also not everybody. Then I take it from the start. So I will explain you what MCP, Model Context Protocol, is all about. We're going to first use our own one from Java code. Then we're going to build our own one with Quarkus. Then I show you a crazy app that integrates a lot of MCP servers. That's where things are going to go seriously wrong. And then I will tell you in the end why it's maybe not that much of a good idea at all, and how to actually maybe use it responsibly if possible. Good. So to know what MCP servers are actually good for, let's just take a step back. What we see here is a user and an LLM, that little brain in the middle, and like in the basis, it's user messages going to the LLM and the LLM sending some response. Now, there are a lot of tooling that you can make around LLMs. So as you can see, things like memory handling, which is actually on us for developers to do, because LLMs don't have memory, for example. We can have content retrievers, where we get extra data that was not part of the training data set, and the LLM will also know about it. And then this cool thing there down on the left, tools, or function calling, my favorite one. If you let an LLM know, here are a number of functions you have. This is a description of what they do, and these are the parameters we're going to need. The LLM can know when to call it, sometimes sequentially, sometimes in parallel, sometimes one, sometimes more. And then it will call our code back. It will say, OK, call me this function with these arguments. We're going to run it for our LLM. We're going to send the answer back. And that's just really cool, because you can do addition or something silly, or you can do crazy things like steering robots in a lab or something. That's also just code, right? So that's the fun. Now, this is what it looks like in frameworks like LangChain4j, also Spring AI. If you want to define tools in Java, this LangChain4j version, it's always a bit the same. You put an annotation tool, you put a description what this one does. So this one's calculating power from voltage and current. You can annotate the parameters we need. So the model is going to get this information here, the strings. And then we return the results. This is a super easy tool just to show you what it looks like if you want to use this in your code. And then in LangChain4j, we have AI services, which is like a model with instructions where you can add a lot of things. So here is then an AI service where you add these tools simply in the builder like this, tools. And then we use this electronics calculator class. And all these methods will be available to the LLM. Very cool. But we're developers. I'm a developer because I'm lazy and I want computers to do things for me. I think like writing these tools is a lot of work. And that's where this model context protocol came in. So it was launched by Anthropic in November last year. So it's about 6 months old now. And they said it's a protocol for seamless integration between LLM applications and external data sources. Sounds like, well. So what they have is prompts that they can handle data sources and tools in LLM-readable format. And so forget about those first two. This is what all the hype is about, these tools. Because not only you get the nice description what all these things do. For example, we're going to look at the Github MCP server right after this. So you have a number of functions that you can operate on GitHub with. And they have nice descriptions, so your LLM knows when to call them. Not only that, you also get the real meat. Like, it's a server. It will execute these functions for you, and you have to write, like, nothing. So let me show you how that works. So Anthropic launched this to actually work with their Claude desktop app. So that's the one I'm going to first show you. But then it's now abused for many, many more things. So this is my silly username, because I'm all into data privacy, and I didn't want to change this for this talk. But let's have a look at the config file for Claude. Please don't steal my GitHub thing. I have 3 MCP servers configured, and that's how it's done. So we can find even these commands just on GitHub. I will show you later how. And here we have the GitHub one. That's actually all I need to do and put my access token there. It's too easy. I have one for Airbnb too, one for Wikipedia, and one for Playwright, which, by the way, is this tool that goes click around in the browser for you, or where it gives an LLM actually the option to go serve websites for you. Those I have configured. So now when I go back to this chat, I can see them here too. And GitHub, it's a bit small, but yeah, sorry, it has 26 functions in there. Create or update file, search repositories, create repository, and so on and so on. So the whole thread that's going in this talk as well is, this is super dangerous, right? So I can now ask it like, yeah, create me a new public GitHub repo called JSpring irresponsible demo. So all I did was adding this to this config file, and I can do all these things. Now, the first time you do it in Cloud Desktop, it's going to ask you, hey, we want to use an external integration. I'm clicking allow once because I want to demo this more. But once you clicked allow always, you will never see this again, and it will just operate. So then you can see the request it made. And then the response is not yet there. Yes? Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's go there. It gives me a link to this repo. I know why. It's because I installed this kind of Zoom. Yeah, so, and then I can scroll. Somebody gave me the great tip for this Zoom thing that breaks everything else. Good, so this is what has been called on my behalf. And now let's see if we have this repository. So that would be mine. And yeah, we have a JSpring irresponsible demo repo now. So really great, really easy, really dangerous. Good. Where are my slides? They're here. Good. So if you want to read more on what this protocol is all about, how you have to implement it, if you want to adhere yourself, you have all the docs here. I will share the slides also. There's a link to where the slides are, so you will have all these links if you want them. And the interesting place to go look is at github.com/model-context-protocol/servers, because they grouped a lot. So this repo is maintained by Anthropic. Yeah, so you see a lot of scrolling here. This is where the servers are. They have some reference servers that you can try out, file system one, which we're going to see right away. Some archive stuff like Google Drive and Google Maps, a lot of fun. Then third-party servers, they don't maintain them, but they gather them on that page. Official integrations are made by tool providers themselves. Like, there's really cool stuff in there, like Azure, Cloudflare, many, many more. So we're going to scroll through it if we have more time at the end to see what's all available, and it makes it super easy to talk to or operate with these services. Oh yeah, by the way, this repo has 50,000 stars, and that's for a repo that's 6 months old. And the reason why it's so popular, maybe you grasp it right away, but it's that, like, usually when we want to connect to any service as developers, we need to learn some kind of syntax or new programming language or whatever for every service we want to connect to, and then we also need to have the tooling to actually execute our stuff, and it's, sorry, let's admit it, it's just hard. And what MCP servers do is actually this. Like, you just say, oh, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. It's like one-liners that you paste somewhere, and your LLM will figure it out by itself together with these servers. Like, I would say this is really nice. This part of the LLM in between is like the dangerous one. Good. Let's see how we integrate an existing MCP server in our Java code. I'm just going to dive into the code, but this is for your reference when you want to see the slides. It's an example that's in the Quarkus LangChain4j repo, in their samples in MCP tools. You see here a playground folder. I'm going to delete this because I've been testing this before. And in the source code here, you will see the vanilla LangChain4j version, if you're interested in using it. So this says it's not used in this project, but you have the code here if you would want to use it. Is this big enough for people to read? Yeah, if you have good eyes. I was told. Triple shift, zoom. Yes, I learned a trick. Yes. Good. So how does it go in vanilla LangChain4j? This part you get online, like the command you have to run. Let's quickly show you how you find that for each of these servers. We're going to use the file system one provided by Anthropic. And in its README, you see all the tools that we will have available, like read file, read multiple files, write file, and so on and so on. And down there, you see how to run it with Docker and how you run it here with Node, basically. And so that's the part we're then going to use to get this into LangChain4j. We define a transport. There's two ways that MCP server is going to communicate with our code. It's stdio, or it's over HTTP SSE. So this is an example of this stdio one, and you will need to have Node installed to run this. Otherwise, you will probably need this Docker version. Good, so we have our transport defined, then we make an MCP client with this transport, and then we wrap this in a tool provider, which is a LangChain4j concept, MCP tool provider, which then we can just add, like you saw before, just .tools, and you add this tool provider, and your AI service or your LLM will know about everything that's in this file system. With Quarkus, they made it even easier. That's just, you define it in the application properties. So you need in the POM the MCP Quarkus LangChain4j extension. Then you give it a name, and then we say stdio for transport for this one. Here is this whole command that we got from the README on the GitHub repo, and I'm going to also log some stuff here, so you see what's going on. Then I need to get this one running. I'm in the right folder. Good, then we're going to have a look at what it does. So we have a bot here that is prompted to interact with the local file system, and it's only allowed to write into the playground folder. So first, little security, don't give it access to anything. Not to your root, please. So we say it in the system prompt, you have to write it in this folder, but we also, in the command, it's integrated. That's the only folder it's actually allowed to access here. Good, let's see if this is up and running now. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to just take one of their examples, and it says write a Python script. Why? That takes two integer arguments and sums them up. So just throwing that in. And now the LLM is going to know, OK, I'm just going to create a new file, ideally, ether.py. It says it has been created in the playground directory. Let's see. Playground. There we go. I hope this is working Python code. This should be really easy. Good. So this was an MCP server in action. I didn't need to write any tool for this, just get it in my code. Next thing that might interest you is to roll your own MCP server. We don't have support in LangChain4j itself because we don't think we're not a framework to start with. So we leave it up to the Spring people and the Quarkus people and everybody else out there. So showing the Quarkus example. It's really, really easy. So let's go to same samples folder, MCP SSE client server. So we have a client again that's going to use it, but what we're going to look into now is the server that we are going to write. We're going to access the weather of like the government in the US. They have some free API. So the code is, yeah, first of all, if you want to do this, you're going to need this dependency. Wait. Yeah, there it is. So Quarkus MCP server SSE, because this one, we're showing an SSE one. It's very similar. And it's as easy as this in the code. You gonna annotate with tool, and this time it's the Quarkus MCP tool. It's a bit different, just this one. You annotate with tool the functions you want to make available for your MCP server. So we have two, get alerts, get forecasts, and then this description is important, so the LLM knows what to do with it. And then tool arg is the arguments, and they, again, have descriptions. Voila, that's mainly it. All the rest of the code is basically setting up, actually getting these weather alerts. It has nothing to do with MCP servers. It's actually the tooling behind that they wrote. And then, if we want to use this in our client, and you know what? Let me get them up and running for the demo already. Then we don't have to wait. So that's going to be MCP SSE. Let's get the client up here. And I think here I'm in the server. So the server here runs on port 8081 and the client on 8080. So the client part of this one, yeah, it's a Quarkus one again. So it's defined in the properties here that we have now this weather, and this type, the transport type is HTTP. And then we just give the link to where this MCP server is turning. So that's how we define them. And then I forgot to show you guys how they're actually added in the Quarkus version. That's simply with, this is an LangChain4j AI service. So you define a system message, user message optionally, and you're going to say MCP toolbox. That's it. And in that way, it knows, it takes all the MCP servers that were declared in the properties file. So let's see if this whole combo works. And again, like, it's kind of too easy also to define MCP servers now with these kind of frameworks. So what's the weather in, say, Nevada? I've asked it before. Good. And then let's have a look at the logs, by the way, what's happening behind the scenes. So yeah, there we get the forecasts. We don't have proper markdown parsing, so it looks a bit messy. But there we go with the weather forecast. I didn't have to, again, ideally write any code if somebody else provides this MCP server, and I can just talk to my LLM about it. What's happening behind the scenes with these MCP servers is that they expose all the tools they have. So there's something you always have is list all tools or something. They have an endpoint like that. That's how our LLM knows about it. And then they expose all these functions themselves. And what it looks like when we make then the call to, in this case, OpenAI, you see this post here, you see this system message, you are a weather expert, etc. The user has asked, what's the weather in Nevada? And you already see here, this is a tool call was made to get the alerts for the state NV, because that's how the description said that we want a two-letter abbreviation of the state. But what you see then is all the functions described here. And that's what these MCP servers do. Like, they describe this, basically, get forecast, the description. You see it back here. And that's how the model knows. That's how the model makes the calls correctly. Then our code calls this MCP server, and we're basically done. OK, I'm going to leave the weather one on, and I'm going to close this one down, because I will use the weather service later. So it has to be running in this case where you use the SSE or HTTP transport. Back to the slides. OK, let's have a look what MCP servers are out there already. If you're looking for something, you can also simply say Gmail, MCP server, Github, and you'll find multiple options to choose from. But then there's some kind of official repos. The Quarkus one, let's see, I had opened them, but I'm going to go out of my slides and just copy them. So Quarkus made a couple of them themselves. They have been dog feeding nicely. So they made, with Quarkus, MCP servers to have JVM insights, for example, or manage your Kubernetes cluster, all by natural language, file system, and so on and so on. You can have a look here for fancy developer tools. Then the one we already looked at, the one from Anthropic. If we're going to look into a bit more detail, what you can already use just as a one-liner. By the way, who thinks, yes, I'm going to see what's out there, and I really want to use some of these things in my daily life? OK, 2 people. Now, then I hope my demo afterwards will make you a bit more enthusiastic here. Good. So let's have a look at these third-party servers. And yes, I got it bigger. So you know what? You can just shout if you see something that you find really interesting. For example, Alibaba Cloud, to handle it. AstraDB, AWS, this one is interesting. AWS best practice directly to your development workflow. I'm actually curious what the content is of that one. Azure, the Azure one sounds really interesting. So key Azure services, storage, Cosmos DB, Azure CLI, and more. And then you don't have to know the syntax yourself anymore. Great and not great. Burp Suite. That's really dangerous, right? That's a tool that also used by hackers, and now it's just made that much easier for hackers to, they don't even have to be able to use Burp Suite anymore. If they find an LLM that wants to assist them with these illegal practices, which there are. Good. Chroma for embeddings and vector search. Cloudflare.
Work with Kafka from your application.
Yes. GraphQL?
Confluent.
Confluent, yes.
Kafka and
yes.
And stuff.
Couchbase. People that are early in the alphabet get. So the GitHub one is here too. So the GitHub one is an official server, and that's actually important because I'm going to come back to it later. You can trust it in the sense that you can trust that the tool is legit. The tool is not going to steal your data or access or anything. If Git, hopefully. There's more chance, but it's still dangerous, right, in itself, because it allows you to do things so easily that maybe you did not intend to do. IBM. So yeah, I'm actually like missing the Google ones mainly, because that's not really developer, but like for managing my life, that would be really nice. MongoDB, PayPal. Oh yeah, PayPal and Stripe are here too.
What can possibly go wrong?
Right? We have Reddit, we have Snyk. Look, at least also the security companies are going to help us via MCPs to deal with these other MCPs. What? Skynet. They don't have an official integration yet. But, I mean, so once we're through the official integrations, we get to the community servers. And they're really, guys, watch out. So it says here, it's untested and at your own risk, right? And there you find really everything, like Ableton. That's like to make music, I think. Anything, it's really cool. Atlassian, you don't have to read tickets anymore. And so on, right? Like here is really everything. And then there's also Discord, if you want to have something else manage your Discord. And then there's also a link to an awesome MCP server that has even more stuff. So have fun with it, and be careful. So which tools use MCP servers already today? So we've seen Claude Desktop. That's going to help you with your daily life. LangChain4j allows the integration, as we saw, but also tools like Cursor, and I think Windsurf. I'm not sure. If they don't have it yet, it will come. All right, it's already there. So they allow you to add MCP servers as easily as you saw how we did it in Claude. To your code assistant. So for now, it's not like directly dealing with your GitHub yet, but you could add this if you want. Devox Jenny, it's another coding assistant, also allows it. It's going to come to Juni at some point. Google's Agent Development Kit, did anybody play around with this ADK, Agent Development Kit? OK, I'm going to go in more detail afterwards. It's also a very, very cool thing. Home Assistant. So you can see how this gets really powerful, right? If Grafana was in there too, by the way. So you can like let your Home Assistant chat with your Grafana charts and base decisions on that and then steer other stuff really easily. Copilot Studio 2. And I'm sure there's going to be many, many more in the future. Now I want to get you really enthusiastic. I have a real problem. I have 3 kids, and the youngest is 6 months. I have so much work to do. I have to be all over the world, basically, and then dealing with so many messages. I was just done with it, and the shopping list and the household. I thought Siri is nice, or Alexa, or Google Assistant, whatever, but they're way too dumb to deal with my life. But now I have these MCP servers. I'm just going to make something similar that does everything for me. So I want to show you what I built. or like what I vibe coded. I'm just going to admit it here. There's not many lines of code of this thing that have been written by hand. And then I'm going to get everything up and running, because there's a couple of moving pieces. So I've just written it here for myself. The weather thing is still running. Our agent manager and our voice listener are up. Good. Let's go to the agent manager. So this is it's kind of between a program and something to actually use. So it allows you to create agents really easily. You give them a name, a description. An important thing that is going to expose them also to other agents, because agents are going to be capable to call other agents. A system message, that's the instruction that the LLM will get, how it should behave. Forget the triggers, they're not working yet. But then we have the tools, and here, like as you can see, there's just a bunch of MCP tools that I can configure really easily that I can now start using. We have our weather forecast that we saw, but also Puppeteer. It's one other of these click around in the browser options you can use, Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, Airbnb, anything. I have manually written tools in there, and then you see also the other agents. So I have an other agent, answering assistant, and generic handler and stuff. Can call them too. And then some context, because I'm just done with repeating every time how many kids I have, how old they are when we have to book something on Airbnb, for example. So I just can throw that with it, and it goes with the system prompt, so the model knows. I've set this up to deal with my emails, and ideally LinkedIn, Slack, WhatsApp. It's also a dream. It's not entirely all working yet, but it's doing a lot. And the strength of the system is that for an LLM to deal with my emails, if I would have to write a flowchart how to treat everything, I end up with at least 500 paths. It's way too complex for one LLM. But I have cascaded this, and I just take some high-level decisions first. So this one just says, oh, if it's generic, send it to the generic handler. If it's anything GitHub, send it to GitHub. Anything related to speaker activity, send it to that one. So I just dispatch it, and that's manageable for one LLM to do. And then these other ones are going to just subdivide the tasks too, and I can divide this as much until it's really manageable for LLMs, even then for local LLMs. Like I have also this version here. Just not going to try it, but it should work. Then a local LLM is much less smart, can handle less complexity, but if I can break the tasks down, they can totally manage. And then this stuff doesn't have to go to OpenAI, which makes me happy, because it is dealing with a kind of private information, right? Now, for our demo today, I made a holiday planner. Let's have a look. It's just a demo where I threw in as many MCP servers as possible to make sense. So I've told it, like, we're a family of 3. We gonna go on travel, and you're going to check the weather. If it's nice, we want to be on the countryside. If it's bad, we want to be in the city. Once we decided which of your Airbnb suggestions we want to go to, you're going to write a file. Interesting. I think that was from when I still had them manually, but now it's an MCP server. You're going to write a file with all this information and also our packing list, which is based on my existing mega packing lists, but then tailored to our trip, depending on the weather and stuff. And make a calendar entry, it also says. Good. Now, this is nice. This can help me in my life, but I typically have a baby in my hands, and I would like to talk. And I would even not want to take my phone out. So let's pick any browser. So I made also a listener that works better than Siri and Co. in some ways. Yeah, this product is totally to push Google, Apple, and Amazon's product out of the market, right? My tool has a start word and a stop word, because what happens to me is when I say in my kitchen, hey Siri, I want to add melons to my shopping list, and that's where it's going to cut, because I took a pause. I hate that. I want to give very long instructions and only send them off when I say. So my start word is hello Vader. My stop word is do it now. I recorded this in silence, so I don't know if it's going to catch up on my start and stop words here. For now, I'm just calling the holiday planner. I want to extend this so I can just say which agent to go to, and then that they talk back. That's for later. Let's try if this works. So I'm just talking, and now I say, hello, Vader. Hello, Vader. Yes. I want to book a holiday to Alaska from Friday to Sunday this week. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. That's not going to work. Okay. Do it now. Okay, well, it did cut off my start, my wake word and my stop word very well, even if I had to repeat it. And now it has sent it to my holiday planner. So if we're going to look in the back end, we see plenty of MCP server output here. It looks good. It's already there with the weather conditions. Snow, etc., etc. Given the weather conditions, stay within walking distance from the city center. I actually can. So I see it detected my wake word again, and that was not my intention. So usually I can continue chatting with it, but now, hey, do it now. Stop. Okay, forget it. It's timed out, probably. That's good. Hello, Vader. Hello, Vader. Yes, please. Do it now. Good. So now I said, yes, give me these Airbnb options. It should come back in a minute. I will want to get streaming on this also. So, oh my God, that's not looking good, huh? But it found stuff. It found stuff. I see. It was actually recording before, and it... OK, no, so now this is a mess, because it has been sending messages that I didn't intend. But good. I'm going to go for the bright end unit. I could tell this, but I'm just not going to risk it anymore. And now I choose my holiday. I'm going to stop listening to prevent further calamity. So as you can see, this whole wake word is a bit too sensitive for now. I'm going to get there. It's using a teachable machines model, by the way, and the transcription is using Whisperer locally to then transcribe whatever audio it got between the stop word, the start word and the stop word. So it gives us back, right? We now have two parallel chats going on here. That's a pity. That's sad. OK, so I'm not dealing with concurrency properly. And let's see, we don't have our file yet. So OK, I'm going to try it again. I just didn't send it off. OK, that was what's going wrong here. And so now it should create me my travel plan. There we go. So my dates, my place, my link to my Airbnb thing, and then it's a bit short for my packing list, I must say. But it is based on my long packing list. I have to prompt it a bit better to not omit crucial things. Diapers, that's a good start, yes. Good, and what it also says is it made me a calendar entry. Let's go and have a look. There we go, my trip to Alaska. I see another trip to Alaska. I've been testing this before. I'm not intending to go, though. Good. This is SiriOnSteroids. The funny thing was, I've been working on this hard because I really need this, right? It's going to save me so much time, and I'm so fed up doing tasks that I know an LLM could do for me. And so I knew Google Agent Development Kit, ADK, came out. It's already 2 months ago or so, and I knew I had to look into this. It's super important, but I was like, yeah, I'm trying to finish this demo for JSpring. And so like a week ago, I was done, and I looked into it. And turned out they built exactly the same, but better, of course, because it's Google. So they also allow you to super easily create agents, have agents call other agents. They even have this concept of an agent that has no LLM in them, but it's just code, which makes a lot of sense because I was struggling. Like sometimes you don't even want an LLM to be called. And they have MCP server integration super easily, and also A2A, agent to agent. That's then Google's version of MCP servers. It's all in there. They have a UI to check the logs really cleanly, much better than I do. So if you think this is a cool tool, go for Agent Development Kit instead. Worst thing, I was watching this introductory video. They even say about like booking flights and finding hotel rooms as their great example. So yeah. That was the feeling. Good. Now you know what you can do with it. Pretty crazy stuff, and way too easily. That's what makes these things so impressive and also dangerous. Let's have a look what we should not do with it. So MCP servers are still an unknown app. Like if they are official by the service provider, I think you can trust them, depending on your standards. If they are a community, then please check the code, right? Like they can do anything. I use Cursor to actually check the code of these MCP servers because all the code is out there. It's like a first line of defense, and then for the rest I do this. If you want to use this in production or something, then really thoroughly check this code that it's fine, or write your own ones. The advantage of wrapping your own tools in MCP servers is that you can reuse them or expose them even if it makes sense for your company. You can expose all this tooling. For example, JetBrains has an MCP server as well. That's really cool. Like for now, you have to have IntelliJ open. If you want to use it, and then it's going to change your files and know what's open and know where the cursor is and everything. So it gets very interesting to edit your code via other tools, via voice, whatever. So that's the advantage of also wrapping your own tools in MCP servers, if ever you want to expose them or if ever you want to reuse them in your company chatbot or wherever. Good. So, oops, you saw I sent my GitHub token in this GitHub MCP server, right? So they can do everything on my GitHub repo, and they have my credentials afterwards. Be aware of that. And apply any standard security practices, any standard vulnerability LLMs and LLM tooling can exploit too. And then some other best practices is try to build small-scoped services and have separation of concerns, basically. So what you see here is that in LangChain4j, you can filter the tools that you're going to expose. So maybe you only want to check issues on your GitHub repo, and then you don't want create repo. Now, there's also on your GitHub key, you can set these things too. But it depends really on the tool you're using, how granular you can do this. That's why filtering tool names, I would really recommend this. And then put a human in the loop for these important things. At the moment, it's like there's no out-of-the-box support. So human in the loop means we're going to place the payment with PayPal, hooray. It should be forced that a user gives this final OK, right? Obviously. It doesn't have out-of-the-box support for that, but I saw an MCP server called human in the loop MCP server. So should have a look what that does and if we can like put it in the middle. Another thing I always recommend is if you have something that happens in steps, and it's important that one thing happens before the other, put this workflow in the code, not in, don't let the LLM handle it. Don't tell the LLM, like, yeah, select a product, put it in a basket, and order it. Because sometimes it's going to do it, and sometimes it's going to burn the steps and place some random order you didn't want. By putting this in a code state machine, basically, you enforce things like, oh, the basket will be verified always before the order is placed. You can put this human as a tool there in code, not like tell the LLM, hey, ask our human right before placing the order. 90% of the time it will do, and sometimes it will be eager to help, and it will just place your order. So you have to enforce this in code before this actual tool call is made. Some stuff like calculate total price you want in code, you don't want this done by an LLM. And again, making smaller services allows you then to use local models, which I think is getting really interesting and important given what we can now do with private data, customer data, and for people wanting to go in production. Good. I think we have 5 minutes for questions. Oh, yeah. So the Quarkus guys also added OpenID Connect support for MCP servers. I'm not going to dive into details, but in the sample folder, you find another example. I cannot select on this. But so the slides will be here, epicengineering.slides. So you find all these links back. Please read my session, it says. Thank you for your attention, and we have time for a couple of questions.